Now you can see where the water has cut through and is trying to make an oxbow lake here. It's about 7 foot from where I'm standing to the top of that bank of gravel, and eventually it will come through here and that oxbow will form on that side. It's been quite pronounced over the last 6 or 7 years. It's really cutting through. It starts cutting through at about 1'9", 2 foot, and then obviously when you get a big flood on, it moves a lot of gravel through. This is why on this side here you can't see a lot of new growth. There's very little plants in this section because it just gets washed out. Just go up to the sway below Hot Pool. Now this section fishes very well with a worm at about 4 foot. The only thing is you've got to make sure that the water's falling and not rising, because otherwise you'll get cut off because it comes round behind you. "15 years ago, 20 years ago, people used to run to get into this corner because you would always get salmon hanging up underneath that far bush and just a little bit further down. Whereas now most people seem to head straight for the hot pool and fish that. And in a good water you can get 7 or 8 people all fishing on hot pool. But this is still worth a cast. Run it down from the fast water there down to directly opposite that old tree on the opposite side. It's going to take a big flood to get rid of some of this horrible green stuff off the bottom. I'm glad I caught a grilse earlier on, otherwise I'd be struggling now. Very few members have actually caught a fish, a salmon anyway. There's been quite a few sea trout caught. If you're fishing with other people, always try and stay on the grass, because it makes a tremendous amount of noise on the gravel and you can disturb the fish, no doubt about it, particularly with sea trout. They get spooked quite easily. water height marker on the other side. Fishes very well from below the two swans down to the bottom end when there's about 3 foot of water on. Fishes particularly well, either spinner, fly, worm. Above the two swans for about 100 yards you can get in. That's about 2 foot, 2'6". But there's a few umps and bumps, so you've got to be careful. But most people tend to go in where the swans are, fish it down, come out, have a cup of coffee, go back in again. That's the fishing hut. Very nice, salubrious hut. It's even got solar powered lighting for those people that want to go sea trouting. I tend not to use it much. I tend to fish just one rod and a minimum of fishing tackle, so I don't use it very much. But a lot of people do. Lots of people, if they're coming for a day, they'll bring all their stuff there, all their sandwiches and flasks and spare rods, and they'll use it as a base. So it is quite important. Now on the other side, I don't know if you can see, but there's a couple of steps or platforms. They're a recent addition, and you can get right the way down on that island now through the centre of the wood, and that's going to be handy for worming, I think, more than anything, because the fish do tend to run right up that edge given 3 foot of water, 4 foot of water.